Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Thursday, December 1st, 2022. Today we'll recap the college basketball, NBA, and NHL games from yesterday. Look ahead to tonight's games in each sport. We have Thursday Night Football tonight in the AFC East. We'll go over the early leaderboard for the golf tournament that is taking place, which is the Hero World Challenge. We have NHL Power Rankings to do, the Masked Singer finale to recap, as well as last night's episode of Survivor, news and notes, and best bet for the day. We're going to start the podcast with something we haven't led with yet, and that's the World Cup, because the games start in a half an hour, so I want to start with this and give out my picks for today before the games go off. So we'll recap the games from yesterday, look ahead to today's slate. So, Groups C and D ending. Tunisia over France 1-0. The goal by Wabi Khazri in the 58th minute. Australia over Denmark 1-0. Australia's goal, Matthew Leckie in the 60th minute. Mexico over Saudi Arabia 2-1. Mexico goes up 1-0 on the goal by Henry Martin. Goes up 2-0 on the goal by Luis Chavez. 5 minutes apart. Those goals were the 47th and 52nd minutes, respectively. And then Saudi Arabia gets on the board in the 95th minute on the goal by Salam Al-Dawasiri as Mexico hangs on. And then Argentina over Poland 2-0. Goals in the 46th minute by Alexis McAllister and the 67th minute by Julian Alvarez. So, going to the round of 16, Argentina, Poland, France, and Australia, as Australia is the big surprise in the knockout round in Group D. All right, today will be Groups E and F. 10 o'clock on Fox Sports 1, Canada and Morocco. Canada is eliminated. And then Morocco, with a draw, get them in. If they drew with Canada and they would need, I think they're safe for the most part, Morocco. So the odds for this match, Morocco's minus 120 favorite, Canada's plus 360, draws plus 240. So I'm going to go over 2.5 goals at plus 126 for my pick here. I think Morocco's going to win and go into the knockout round. On Fox, we have Croatia and Belgium. Also Group F. Belgium needs this win to win Group F. No draw, a win. And then Morocco, if Croatia beats Belgium and Morocco beats Canada, or no, it would have to be a draw between Croatia and Belgium, and then they would have to beat Canada for Morocco to win the group. So this could be for Group F, essentially, if this isn't a draw. So this is a pretty big game here. Belgium's plus 145, Croatia's plus 185, and the draw's plus 240. These are all great teams that are going at it. So for this one, I'm going to take Belgium at plus 145. I like this Belgium squad. I picked them to go to the round of 16, but for the tournament, I had them, and then I had Canada as a surprise, but that obviously didn't work out. It's either going to be Croatia or Morocco, or Belgium. It's going to be two of those three teams. So, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to say Belgium wins the game. They're plus 145. And then in terms of the table, so Croatia has 4 points, so does Morocco. Belgium has 3, Canada 0. So Canada lost both their games to Croatia and they played Croatia. Yeah, Croatia and Belgium respectively. Croatia's 1-1-0, so they drew with Morocco, beat Canada. Belgium's 1-0-1. They lost. So Belgium lost to Morocco and beat Canada. And then Morocco beat Belgium and then drew with Croatia. So let's say here, so who would have to draw for Morocco to win the group? Well, Croatia and Belgium would have to draw, and then Morocco would beat Canada. Then Morocco would win the group. Belgium would have to win, and then Morocco would have to draw against Canada. So this group is still up for grabs. So it's going to be interesting to see. Morocco wins against Canada, but depending on the goal differential, if Croatia beats Belgium and Morocco beats Canada, depending on the goal differential, that will determine the winner of Group F. Alrighty, and now to the 2 o'clock games. Fox Sports 1, we have Costa Rica and Germany, Group E. Germany's a minus 1050 favorite. Costa Rica's 20-1, draw plus 850. Germany's winning this game, no doubt, in my mind. I'm going to go over 3.5 goals at minus 106. I think there's going to be a lot of goals here from Germany. And then Japan and Spain on Fox. This is going to be a fun one. Spain's minus 50, Japan 7-1, draw plus 350. Japan has been a joy to watch through the years in this tournament. They beat Germany. They lost to Costa Rica. Germany and Spain drew. And then Spain beat Costa Rica. So, if Spain loses to Japan, that opens the door. So, if Germany beats Croatia, is there a way Germany can get in? They would need so they would have. So they're a big favorite against Costa Rica, and rightfully so. Let's say they win. That gets them to 4. And then Japan and Spain draw. So that's 5-4. And depending on Germany's goal differential, they could jump Japan and still make to the knockout round. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. And I'm going to say that Japan and Spain draw. Japan always plays up the competition and down the competition. Kind of like the United States in a way. So I'm going to say they draw with Spain. That's plus 350. So my projected scenario would be those two the draw. So Spain would have 5 points, Japan would have 4 points, Germany would have 4 points, and then Croatia would have 3. So, Germany, depending on how many goals they score, would jump Japan. I think that they'll end up with a better goal differential than Japan. And then they get in with Spain there in the knockout round. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to this. All right, college basketball now. We will go over the results from yesterday and look ahead to a smaller window for today. Lipscomb over Navy, 82-77. Santa Clara over Wyoming, 89-85 in overtime. Loyola over Binghamton, 84-70. Army over Merchant Marine 88-57. UMass Lowell over Merrimack 77-51. Temple over LaSalle 67-51. Butler over Kansas State 76-64. Ohio over Cincy Claremont 113-44. Eastern Michigan over FIU 80-68. SC Upstate over Columbia International 93-59. Stonehill over East Nazarene 92-45. Princeton over Cairn 92-58. Maryland Eastern over Lehigh 64-60. Chattanooga over Tennessee Tech 81-74. Bucknell over St. Fran, PA 89-65. Marshall over Akron 68-57. Drexel over Lafayette 64-56. High Point over Elon 84-70. Citadel over Charleston Southern 76-73. Sacred Heart over New Hampshire 66-61. Indiana State over Drake 75-73. FAU over South Alabama 84-59. UMBC over Coppin State 102-82 or 109-82. Gardner-Webb over Western Carolina 71-55. Cincinnati over NJIT 86-60. NCAT over UNC Greensboro 73-56. St. Bonaventure over Middle Tennessee 71-64. Toledo over Richmond 90-67. George Mason over Hofstra 81-77 in overtime. Dayton over Western Michigan 67-47. Hartford over Fairleigh Dickinson 74-66. Yale over Howard 86-40. Harvard over Holy Cross 72-38. Dartmouth over Northern Vermo 99-41. East Tennessee State over Mars Hill 84-56. VCU over Vandy 70-65. Georgia over Hampton 73-54. Number 5 Purdue over Florida State 79-69. Number 13 Tennessee over McNeese 76-40. Number 17 Duke over number 25 Ohio State 81-72. Miami over Rutgers 68-61. St. Fran Brooklyn over Delaware State 81-73. Incarnate Word over Dallas Christian 112-64. UNC Wilmington over Coastal Carolina 60-58. Texas Rio Grande over A&M Corpus Christi 89-82. UAB over Jacksonville 80-61. Florida Gulf Coast over Georgia Southern 70-53. Number 23 Iowa State over North Dakota 63-44. Abilene Christian over North American 93-46. Lindenwood over East West 103-56. Northern Illinois over Eastern Illinois 90-70. Western Kentucky over Austin P 75-74. Missouri State over UIC 66-51. Southern Illinois over Evansville 80-53. Bradley over Northern Iowa 68-53. Memphis over North Alabama 87-68. Rice over Prairie View 70-62. Rider over Monmouth 88-62. A&M over SMU 83-64. Florida over Florida A&M 102-62. Texas Tech over Georgetown 79-65. TCU over Providence 75-62. Fordham over Maine 72-67. Western Illinois over Southern Indiana 86-78. St. Joe's over Penn 85-80 in overtime. Xavier over Southeast Louisiana 95-63. Montana State over Southern Utah 86-83. St. Louis over Tennessee State 80-63. Colorado State over Loyola Marymount 87-71. Air Force over Arkansas Pine Bluff 81-53. New Mexico State over UTEP 95-70. Loyola Chicago over Central Arkansas 85-70. DePaul over Sanford 103-98 in overtime. George Washington over South Carolina 79-55. Nebraska over BC 88-67. Number 10 Indiana over number 18 North Carolina 77-65. Notre Dame over number 20 Michigan State 70-52. San Fran over Little Rock 90-68. Portland State over Portland Bible 114-31. Cal Baptist over UC Riverside 65-60. Seattle over Fullerton 69-62. Portland over Multnomah 179. New Mexico over St. Mary's 69-65. USC over Cal 66-51. And A&M Commerce over Hawaii 53-51. Now we will look ahead to tonight's short window. 6:30 on Fox Sports 1. We have Big East, Big 12. Oklahoma State at number 8, UConn. My line is UConn 5.5. And it is, let's see here, 8.5. I'm going to take Oklahoma State getting the points. ESPN, number 7 Creighton, number 2 Texas, game of the night. Really, really good game. My line is Texas by 3 3/4, and it's 6.5. I'm going to take Creighton getting the points. NC Central, Radford. My line is Radford by 2. And Radford's giving 4.5. Give me NC Central getting the points. Cornell, Udell. My line is Udell 10 3/4, and it's 5.5. I'm going to lay the points with Delaware. Presbyterian and Wofford. My line is Wofford by 16, and it's 12.5. I'm going to lay the points. We can skip MVU, Leiden, and Vermont, and Middle, Georgia State, and Georgia State. Mount St. Mary, St. Peter's. My line is St. Peter's 9.5, and it's 3.5. I'll lay the points. So Metro Atlantic plays starting tonight. Fairfield, Manhattan. My line's Manhattan by 5 1/4. and it's Fairfield 1.5. Give me Manhattan plus the 1.5 and plus 106 to win outright. Youngstown State and Northern Kentucky. So Horizon League starting tonight too. My line's Northern by 5, and it's Youngstown by 1.5. Give me Northern Kentucky plus 1.5 and plus 102 to win. Robert Morris and Youngstown State. Wright State. My line is Wright State by 11. It's 12.5. Total's 142.5. I'll take the over. Oakland and Cleveland State. My line is Cleveland State 2.5, and it is 4.5. I'm going to take Oakland getting the points. Detroit and Purdue Fort Wayne. My line is Purdue Fort Wayne by 8, and it's 4.5. I'll lay the points. Chicago State Bethune Cookman. Line I'm project, and that's an 8:00 game. Bethune by 2 3/4, and it is 2.5. Total's 134.5. I'm taking the over. That's very low. Illinois State, Murray State. My line is Murray State 6.5, and it's 10.5. Give me Illinois State getting the points. Valpo, Vermont Valpo, Belmont. I kind of said Vermont, like merging the two schools. On ESPNU, my line is Belmont by 7, and it's 9.5. Give me Valpo getting the points. Denver, Houston, Christian. My line is Denver by 5, and it's 6.5. Total's 149.5. I'll take the over. Don't feel strong about that, though. Miss Valley State and Arkansas State. My line is 12 3/4, and it's 15.5. Give me Miss Valley State getting the points. Milwaukee, Green Bay. My line is Milwaukee by 2, and it's 6.5. Give me Green Bay getting the points. I don't know if they'll win the game outright. They're plus 255. That's pretty juicy. 8:30 on the Pac-12 network. Number 4, Arizona at Utah. So Pac-12 play starts tonight too. Arizona, I project by 4.5, and it's 6.5. Give me Utah getting the points. Texas State, Lamar. My line is Texas State by 10, and it's 12.5. Give me Lamar getting the points. Fox Sports 1, Arizona State, Colorado. My line's Arizona State by 2 3/4, and it's Colorado by 4.5. The wrong team's favored here. Give me Arizona State plus 4.5 and plus 150 to win the game outright. 9 o'clock on ESPN, Seton Hall at number 9, Kansas. My line is Kansas by 10, and it's 9.5. I need to see what the total in this game is, because all right, so it is Kansas by 10.5. Totals 135.5. I'll take the over. Northwestern State and Stephen F. Austin. My number here for this matchup is Stephen F. Austin by 8.5 points, and it's 12.5. Give me Northwestern State getting the points. Pacific and UC Davis. My projection is a pick 'em, and it's UC Davis by 6.5. Give me Pacific getting the points. That's a lot of points for that team. Is the favorite, I mean. Like, I can't lay it with UC Davis. Utah Tech and Utah State. My line is State by 18. It's 18.5. Totals 146.5. I'll take the over. UC San Diego and San Diego was postponed. 10:30. 10 o'clock on ESPNU. Washington and Oregon State. My line's Washington by 3, and it's 5.5. Give me Oregon State getting the points. 10:30 on ESPN2, number 21 UCLA at Stanford. I wonder if this is the Dave Pasch, Bill Walton game. My number is UCLA by 3, and it's 6.5. Give me Stanford getting the points. And last but not least, in Pac-12, 10:30 Pac-12 network, Washington State, Oregon. My line is Oregon by 4.25, and it's 4.5. Total is 135.5. I'll take the over. All right, now I'll move on to the NBA. We'll recap yesterday's slate, and then we only have one game tonight for some reason. That's very bizarre that they only scheduled one game for tonight. Cavs over the Sixers, 113.85. Cavs are now 14-8. Phillies 12-10. Hawks over the Magic, 125-108. Hawks 12-10. Orlando 5-17. Celtics over the Heat, 134-121. Boston 18-4. Miami 10-12. Nets over the Wiz, 113-107. Nets 12-11. Washington 11-11. Bucks over the Knicks, 109-103. The Bucks 15-5. Knicks 10-12. Wolves over the Grizzlies, 109-101. Timberwolves 11-11. Memphis 12-9. Pelicans over the Raptors, 126-108. Pelicans 13-8. Toronto 11-10. Thunder over the Spurs, 119-111. The Thunder 9-13. San Antonio 6-16. Nuggets over the Rockets, 120-100. Nuggets 14-7. Houston 5-16. Suns over the Bulls, 132-113. The Suns 15-6. Chicago 9-12. Jazz over the Clippers, 125-112. Jazz 13-11. Clippers 13-10. Kings over the Pacers, 137-114. The Kings 11-9. Pacers 12-9. And the Lakers over the Blazers, 128-109. Lakers 8-12. Portland 11-11. All right, 7 o'clock NBA TV tonight. You have the Mavericks and the Pistons. That is a weird thing that they're doing. Only one game tonight, which is one of the weirder things I've seen. That the NBA do schedule one game. My projection is Mavericks by 4 3/4, total 221 9/10. And it is 8 221.5. Give me the Pistons getting the 8. I think that they will hang around in this game. But I don't think they'll win. I just don't think the Mavericks are very good outside of Luka. All right, the NHL, we'll go over the results from yesterday and look ahead to a big window for tonight. Rangers over the Senators 3-1. Sabres over the Red Wings 5-4 in a shootout. Leafs over the Sharks 3-1. And Oilers over the Blackhawks 5-4. Big window tonight. 7 o'clock, we have the Avs at the Sabres. So this is their second East Coast trip, the Avs. They're minus 184 favorites. Buffalo's plus 152 over under 6.5. Overs minus 122. Unders even money. Avs minus 1.5 is plus 128. Sabres plus 1.5 is minus 158. I feel like this is like a, hey, we're the champs type of game for the Avs, so I'm going to lay the minus 118 for Colorado to win in regulation. Predators, Devils from the Prus Center. The Devils are minus 210. The Preds are plus 172. Over under 6. Overs minus 120. Unders minus 102. Preds plus 1.5 is minus 142. Devils minus 1.5 is plus 116. The Devils are just on fire right now. They're beating everybody. I think they're going to get off to a fast start. I think they're going to win the first period. So first period result, New Jersey Devils plus 130. Lightning Flyers. The Lightning are minus 230. The Flyers are plus 188. Over under 6. Overs minus 104. Unders minus 120. Lightning minus 1.5 is plus 112. Flyers plus 1.5 is minus 140. For this one, this is a tough one. I think the Lightning are better than the Flyers, obviously. And I feel the same way in the New Jersey game. Except I think the road team will get off to a fast start. So, first period result, Tampa Bay Lightning plus 126. Golden Knights Penguins from Pittsburgh. The Pens are favored, minus 120. Vegas, even money, over under 6.5. Overs, even money, unders, minus 122. Vegas plus 1.5 is minus 250. Pens minus 1.5 is plus 198. Why on earth is Pittsburgh favored here? This is probably the Vegas nose game. I'm going to let this one bite me in the ass. I'm taking Vegas at even money to beat Pittsburgh. 8 o'clock, the Oilers and the Wild. The Wild, they're minus 162. The Oilers are plus 134. Over under 6.5. Overs minus 124. Unders plus 102. The line just moved on me. The Wild are minus 160 now, and the Oilers are plus 132. Wild minus 1.5 is plus 152. Oilers plus 1.5 is minus 188. I like how Edmonton's playing. They've won 3 straight. Giving them to win 4 straight. They're plus 132. Hurricanes Blues. The Canes are minus 140. The Blues are plus 116. Over under 6. Overs minus 102. And there's even money. Minus 120. Canes minus 1.5 is plus 172. Blues plus 1.5 is minus 215. This is a tough one because neither of these teams are playing great hockey right now. So, I think this goes to overtime. I'm going to do the rare tie plus 320. Next up, you have 8:30, the Ducks and the Stars. The Stars are minus 310. The Ducks are plus 245. Over under 6. Over is minus 120. Under is minus 102. Ducks plus 1/2 is minus 104. Stars minus 1/2 is minus 118. For this one, I'm going to go with the trend I've been doing on today's show. First period result, the Dallas Stars plus 108. 9 o'clock, you have the Canadiens and the Flames. The Flames minus 280. Montreal's plus 225. Over under 6. Over is minus 115. Under is minus 106. Or minus 105. Habs plus 1/2 is minus 108. Flames minus 1/2 is minus 112. I'm going to go with the Canadiens plus 1/2 at minus 108 for the pick here. I just don't like how Calgary's looked. 10 o'clock, you have the Capitals and the Kraken. The Kraken are minus 128. The Caps are plus 106. Over under 6. Minus 110 each way. Caps plus 1/2 is minus 235. Kraken minus 1/2 is plus 190. This Kraken team's been on fire. They're fun to watch. We'll get into them in the power rankings. I'm going to take the over in this game. I think there's going to be a lot of goals. Panthers, Canucks. Panthers minus 137. Canucks plus 114. Over under 6.5. Over is minus 132. Under is plus 108. Panthers minus 1/2 is plus 176. Canucks plus 1/2 is minus 220. I'm going to go with the Canucks as a home dog plus 114. And 10:30, the Coyotes and the Kings from Crypto. Kings minus 275. The Coyotes are plus 220. Over under 6. Over is minus 114. Under is minus 108. Coyotes plus 1/2 is minus 118. Kings minus 1/2 is minus 104. I'm going to take the under in this game, but I don't feel strong about it. All right, Thursday night football tonight. We have the Bills at the Patriots from Gillette Stadium. It's going to be a fun game tonight. Division rival, a game that the Patriots, I feel like, need to either win or play well. If they lose, probably not the best thing for them. The Bills are giving 3.5. Totals 43.5. I'm going to take the Patriots getting the 3.5. And guess what? I'm going to take them to win, too. They're plus 162. The Bills have some injuries. Their left tackle's out. That's a problem. I know the Vikes were missing their left tackle against the Pats on Thanksgiving last week, but the Pats didn't really play well, but they're home. I think that'll benefit them. Cold weather. I think Ramondre Stevenson's going to have a big game running the ball. I know Damian Harris is out, but Stevenson's a capable back, I think. Mac Jones using his legs, so anytime touchdown for Mac Jones could be like a prop bet that could be relevant when it comes to this game. So give me New England plus a 3.5 and plus 162 to win this game outright. Now I'm going to do my NHL power rankings. I will go from 32 to 1. Same idea as the NBA power rankings from yesterday. Just talk about all the teams. What have they done for me lately? And say a few things along the way. All right, number 32 of the Chicago Blackhawks. They're in last place in the Central Division. 6-12-4 on the year. 1-7-2 in their last 10. Losers of 8 straight. This team's a hot mess. And now the question is, Patrick Kane. To trade him or not. I think they should trade him. There's going to be a lot of desperate teams out there like the Rangers, the Panthers, the Flames, the Minnesota Wild, the LA Kings, the Islanders. You name it. They're all going to be play Pittsburgh. Dare I say the New Jersey Devils? It's going to be interesting who will be in play for him. Number 31 is the Anaheim Ducks. They have the worst record in the league. They're 6-15-2, 14 points. 2-7-1 their last 10. Losers of 3 straight. If you're, they can thank the Blackhawks for losing 8 straight, or else they'd be number 32 on this list, obviously. So it's going to be very interesting to see like how far Chicago goes back. They have a worse goal differential than Chicago. They're minus 37, and Chicago's minus 27. But the Ducks stink. They'll probably blow it up too. Number 30 is the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're last in the Metro Division. They're 7-12-2 on the year, 16 points. Losers of 3 straight, 4-4-2 in their last 10. Minus 27 goal differential as well. I think Johnny Gaudreau has some regrets. Number 30, the Arizona Coyotes. They are in last place. Second to last. So 7th place in the Central. 7-10-3 on the year, 17 points. 4-4-2 in their last 10. Losers of back-to-back games. I just don't think they're any good. Number 28 is the Ottawa Senators. They are last in the Atlantic Division. 8-13-1 the year, 17 points. 4-5-1 their last 10. They lost last night to the Rangers. I knew this team was going to be disappointing. I knew it. Everybody thought that this was a contender for a wild card this year. I did not. They're the Senators, and they have a bad coach, and they still have a lot of holes on their roster. So we'll see what happens to them. I think DJ Smith is certainly a coach that I think could get fired soon. Number 27 is the Philadelphia Flyers. They're not in the bottom 5, amazingly enough. They're 8-10-5 on the year, 21 points. 1-6-3 in their last 10. They won their last game, which was at home against the Islanders the other night. Number 25 is the San Jose Sharks. 8-14-4 on the year, 20 points. 4-5-1 their last 10. They lost their last game against the Maple Leafs last night. Erik Karlsson trade watch is on. Number 24 is the Montreal Canadiens. They are 11-10-1 on the year at 23 points. 6-4 in the last 10. Minus 12 goal differential. This team stinks. I don't know how they're over 500. They won back-to-back games and lost at home to the Sharks on Tuesday night. So, this team's not good at all. They're the worst over 500 team in the league by a mile, in my opinion. On paper, at least. Number 23 is the Florida Panthers. Very disappointing. 10-9-4 on the year, 24 points. 3-4-3 in their last 10. Losers of their last 3 games. You'll be seeing with some of these teams coming up in the rankings how they were like the darlings of the preseason and they faltered. Like, the Panthers are in the bottom 10. Like, I would not have expected the Panthers to be in the bottom 10 of the power rankings at any point in the year if you told me that 2 months ago. Number 22 is the Vancouver Canucks. They're not in the bottom 10. And they've kind of turned it around after their slow start. 9-11-3 on the year, 21 points. 500 in their last 10. They lost the other night against Washington. Number 21 is the Washington Capitals. That's who beat the Canucks the other night in Vancouver. 10-11-3 on the year, 23 points. We'll see what happens with them. 4-5-1 their last 10. Number 20 is the Calgary Flames. They were my preseason pick to win the Stanley Cup. They are 10-9-3 on the year, 23 points. 5-4-1 their last 10. Kind of like Florida and a couple other teams I'm going to mention as we do the rankings. Very disappointing. Number 19 is the Minnesota Wild. They are 10-9-2 on the year, 22 points. 5-4-1 in their last 10. Number 18 is the Nashville Predators. 10-9-2 on the year, 22 points. 6-3-1 in their last 10. Won their last game, but they have a negative 11 goal differential, which indicates that they're not very good. And number 17, the St. Louis Blues, 11-11 on the year. No overtime losses, 22 points. 7-3 in their last 10, which is pretty good. that's why they're higher than Nashville and Minnesota, because I factored what have you done for me lately in these rankings. So that's the last team in the bottom half. This next team probably should be in the bottom half because they won last night and have more points than these last couple of teams. They're 16, that's the New York Rangers. They are disappointing, 11-9-4 in the year, 26 points, 5-4-1 their last 10. They've just been disappointing all around. Igor Shesterkin's been disappointing. Kreider's been disappointing. Their young players have been disappointing. I mean, you can't pick a bright spot on the Rangers. I'm sorry. There are zero bright spots on this team. And I like Gerard Gallant, and I think that firing him after an Eastern Conference Finals appearance would be a mistake because it makes you look bad as a franchise. And that's why I don't think that Dolan and Chris Drury will pull the trigger on that. Maybe next year if it's bleak, then they might. And assuming that this season stays disappointing and then fast forward a year from now and it's still just as bad, then you pull the trigger and fire the coach. So we'll see what happens. The season's still young. Number 15 is the Pittsburgh Penguins. 11-8-4 in the year, 26 points. 6-2-2 in their last 10, although they did lose their last 2 games. Pittsburgh has just been playing better than the Rangers right now, and that's why they're ahead of them in the power rankings. But yeah, they're similar to New York, very disappointing. I just don't think they're a deep Pittsburgh. Number 14 is the Los Angeles Kings. They're 12-9-4 on the year, 28 points, 4-3-3 in their last 10. They lost their last 2. They're going to be soul searching too a little bit when it comes to the trade deadline. 13 is the Detroit Red Wings. They are a surprising 11-6-5 on the year, 27 points, 4-3-3 in their last 10. They did lose their last 2. People are going to be yelling at me like, why did you put them out of the Rangers and the Pens? It's what have you done for me lately, and I want to reward them for being 11-6-5 with a team that wasn't expected to be good, unlike Pittsburgh and the Rangers. Who, by the way, and I mean unlike them in terms of teams that were supposed to be good and are disappointing, unlike the Red Wings who were not supposed to be good and are exceeding expectations. Number 12 is the Carolina Hurricanes. They're 12-6-5 on the year, 29 points. 4-2-4 in their last 10, which is weird. They won their last 2. I don't like what I've seen from Carolina, but I'm kind of giving them a weird benefit of the doubt, as disappointing as it's kind of been for Carolina, which I put them a little bit higher because they're getting points, which is important in this loaded division. Number 11 is the Edmonton Oilers. They are 13-10-0 on the year, 26 points, 6-4 in the last 10 winners of 3 straight. The big comeback in MSG the other day, I think, could spark this team a little bit, and they could go on a run here. So, Vegas and Seattle need to be on the lookout. I like what I've seen from Edmonton. Number 10 is the Tampa Bay Lightning. They are 13-8-1 the year, 27 points, 6-4 in their last 10, although they did lose their last game. Number 9 is the Colorado Avalanche. So the 2 teams who are in the Cup final, to me, get a benefit of the doubt, despite Tampa, I think, has been disappointing. The Avs, I think, have been disappointing, too, by their standards. And I just sat here and destroyed the Rangers and Pittsburgh. But the Avs are your reigning champions, so they get a benefit of the doubt boost. And then Tampa won 2 of the last 3 cups and was in the final last year, so they get a benefit of the doubt thing, too. Colorado 12-7-1 on the year, 25 points, 7-3 in their last 10, so they're starting to turn it on a little bit, so that's why they're that high, too. Number 8 is the New York Islanders, 15-9-0 on the year, 30 points, 6-4 in their last 10. If it wasn't for the Devils' hot streak, the Islanders would probably be in first place. they're starting to become the team that we thought they were going to be last year. And maybe the Rangers are this year's the Islanders from last year. So it's like reversing of the roles a little bit with the two New York teams. Number 7 is the Dallas Stars. They are 13-6-4 in the year, 30 points. 5-2-3 in their last 10. This team's pretty good. Number 6 is the Winnipeg Jets. They're playing great hockey right now. On the year, they're 14-6-1, 29 points. 7-3 in their last 10, winners of 3 straight. They're a team that's on the come. Number 5, the Seattle Kraken. 14-5-3 on the year, 31 points. 8-1-1 their last 10, winners of 6 straight. This Kraken team is living up to the hype that they got coming into last season. They've just been playing great hockey. They've been a good underdog in betting, and I think they're a team on the come. Number 4 is the Vegas Golden Knights, 17-6-1 on the year, 35 points, 5-4-1 their last 10. They are starting to prove that last year's injury-riddled season was a mirage, and that this is the team that they are usually are, rather than last year's. It looks to be an outlier disappointment for them. Number 3 is the Toronto Maple Leafs. 15-5-5, 35 points, second in the Atlantic Division. 8-0-2 in their last 10. They've won 5 straight. Number 2, the New Jersey Devils. 19-4-0 in the year, 38 points. 9-1 their last 10, winners of 3 straight. If it wasn't for the refs against Toronto, that winning streak would still be going on. It'd probably be at 17 right now if it wasn't for that stupid loss against the Maple Leafs on Thanksgiving Eve in a game where the refs took away 2 goals from them. So I kind of think that was a little bit rigged. And I really don't believe in rigged, but that game kind of felt it from watching it, as that was a 2-1 loss. Or else they would have won that game if they had those 2 goals. So their losses this year, home Maple Leafs, and then very early in the season, where friend of the podcast, Derek Felix, said it was rock bottom for the Devils. Ever since Derek said that, for the Devils, they've got on this nice run. So they really shut a lot of people up by going on that big winning streak, and this team's proving to be for real. So they lost on their first game of the year. They lost to the Flyers, and then they got blown out at home by the Red Wings, and then they lost at home to the Capitals, and then the winning streak started on October 25th, and then it ended on November 23rd. So they hadn't lost for a month. And then they lost at home to the Maple Leafs in a game which they should have won. They were the better team in that game, too, and I watched that game from start to finish. All right, and number 1 is the Boston Bruins. They're easily the best team in the league, my mind. 19-3 on the year, 38 points, 9-1 their last 10. They've won their last 2. So their 3 losses on the season. They lost in Florida on Thanksgiving Eve against the Panthers. They lost at Ottawa on October 18th. That's not good. And then they lost where is that other Bruins loss? So their first loss came against Ottawa on the road. Probably a trap game, looking ahead a little bit. They beat the Pens in overtime. They should have lost to the Penguins. I remember that game. That was on ESPN. Oh, they lost at Toronto on November 5th. So, and that was 2-1. So, they had a couple really bad games, and then they lost 2-1 against the Maple Leafs, which is respectable. The Florida loss, that would have been respectable. Might turn out to be a respectable loss in the end, but that Ottawa loss is bad. And then back to the Devils for a second. They lost to Detroit, and Detroit isn't bad. Lost to the Maple Leafs in the game, which the refs took 2 goals away from them. or else the winning streak would still be going on. They lost at Philly. That's a terrible loss for them. And then the other one I spotted, they didn't lose to the Islanders. They lost to somebody else. Who was it? And it was it was earlier in the year, too. At home against the Capitals in the Vanacek revenge spot. So, yeah, there you go. So, they did lose at home against the Capitals, which it may turn out to be an okay loss, but doesn't look good right now. So, there you have it for the power rankings. All right, the Masked Singer finale, and that was fun catching up on hockey. We really talked a lot of hockey on the podcast, and NBA too. But so we had the opportunity and time to do it. So Masked Singer finale was last night, 2-hour show. The first hour was the road to the finale like it usually is. But during part one, there were some big clues in there on who each contestant wasn't. The Lambs revealed that they were not Haim or Heim. And the Harp revealed that she wasn't Fantasia. So Haim was not the Lambs and Fantasia was not the Harp. I was banging the drum on Fantasia being the Harp. But unfortunately, she was not the Harp. We'll get to my final guess was for the Harp. And then for that segment, they gave out a couple of potential guesses for who the character wasn't. And then they said who they weren't. The Lambs, they gave out Haim, the Chicks. And I think the other one was either Wilson Phillips or Lady A. And there's another one who is popular guest for the Lambs. Or is it All Saints? Yeah, All Saints was the third option, but they said they were in Haim. And then the Harp options were Fantasia, Jordan Sparks, and Jennifer Hudson. She said she wasn't Fantasia, which kind of opened the door up for some other guesses. And then they had one big-time clue in the last or in the first hour. Harp's big-time clue was a red car, and Lamb's big-time clue was flowers. So part two, they each performed twice. So first performance round, Harp performed Edge of Glory by Lady Gaga, and the Lambs performed I'm Every Woman by Chaka Khan. Second round, the Lambs did an excellent rendition to I Want to Know What Love Is by Foreigner. And Harp did a fantastic rendition of Gravity by John Mayer. And your Season 8 winner, the Harp, of course. She was the best one from day one. She had some challengers such as the Lambs and the Snowstorm. And even in her own group. Like Panther was competition for her. Hummingbird was surprisingly a challenger for her. She got through, and she deserved to win this competition. So the Lambs got revealed. My final guess was TLC because I felt that this was a girl group that wasn't together for a while that came back and did the show. Jenny guessed the Chicks. There was a no, Ken, from the audience as he guessed the Kardashians. Nicole and Robin guessed Wilson Phillips, and it was indeed Wilson Phillips. So Robin and Nicole were correct. And then the Harp got revealed. My final guess was Jennifer Hudson. Robin said Yvette Nicole Brown. Jenny said Jordan Sparks. That was a terrible guess for her. Ken said Jennifer Hudson. Nicole said Amber Riley, and it was Amber Riley. So Nicole went 2 for 2. And there are some clues that Nicole really picked up in the clue package, which got her to Amber Riley. So it was a fun season. Nick said on the show last night, or on the episode last night, that there will be a season 9 in the winter. And if I had to predict, I think it's going to be a little bit earlier than we expect, and I would not be shocked if for the third time in a 4-year span that the Masked Singer season premiere will take place after the Super Bowl. Because Fox has the Super Bowl this year, and they're going to want their best show to follow the Super Bowl for the ratings. And, of course, they're going to put the Masked Singer there. I'd be stunned if the Masked Singer isn't going to be on after the Super Bowl in 2023. All right, now I'll move on to Survivor. This was a really fun episode. So it was the final 7. And in the beginning of the show, Carla confronted Sammy about the stray votes she received at the previous tribal council, and Sammy owned up to writing her name down. And then Owen was upset about being on the wrong side of some votes. And then the next morning, a clue about an advantage in their jungle was revealed, and Cody found it to be the Choose Your Champion advantage, which allowed him to bet on one of his opponents to win the next immunity challenge. And if they did, he would also get immunity, and he bet on Owen to win. And then immunity challenge, this was one of the classic Survivor immunity challenges, as the contestants hung underneath the steel barricade in the ocean as the tide rose. And as the challenge wore on, it would give them less room to breathe, making it more difficult. And if a player surfaced from the grate, the player would be eliminated from the challenge. And then the last player remaining won immunity. Because the high tide was outlasted by not one but 2 players. Both of those players won individual immunity, and it ends up being Carla and Owen. And then before Tribal, there was some talk about voting out Cassidy. And then the boys, Jesse and Cody, wanted to vote out Sammy. And then they were hoping that Carla would vote Cassidy, which could potentially weaken their relationship. And then Sammy went for the shot in the dark, and it was a failed shot in the dark. And it turned out to be a unanimous vote for Sammy, as Carla did not go for her teammates' wishes for her to vote for Cassidy. As she survives, Sammy goes home, fails the shot in the dark. And the funny thing is that I don't think anybody used a shot in the dark this season, which is very interesting. So, Sammy goes home. And then, so it's down to Cody, Cassidy, Carla, Gabler, Owen, and Jesse. 2 episodes left on the season. And then the jury right now is Janine, James, Ryan, Noel, and Sammy. And how about during Tribal, they kept showing Noel, like, whispering crap and whatnot. Like, I thought that was interesting that they kept showing Noel and her, like, mouthing some things. Because I think she was upset that she got blindsided. And if you ask me right now who the frontrunner is, I think it's Carla. I think that she's been the frontrunner for several weeks now. I think she is very good. I think that there's a possibility that she's the only female in the final 3. And I think that there could be some surprises. I wouldn't be shocked if Gabler's out within the next several episodes. I wouldn't be surprised if Jesse's out in the next several episodes. And as much as I've praised Carla, I wouldn't be shocked if she's out within the next couple episodes. But we'll see, and it's going to be a fun couple of weeks on Survivor. All right, news and notes time. We have some things to talk about. We'll start with college football as it officially expands to 12 teams for the playoff as the Rose Bowl signed an agreement that will allow the college football playoff to be expanded to 12 teams in 2024 and 2025. This is a big deal. A lot of things change here, obviously. It's going to put some 2-loss teams in play. I think it could potentially put some weaker conference champions in play. It's fun from a betting standpoint, which bodes well for me, but and listeners to the show. But I liked when they just picked the best 4 teams. But so there's some good and some bad to this, but ultimately I think it's fun that they are expanding to 12 teams. And I think that the top 4 will get byes. So if this happened this year, then Alabama would still be in play for the playoff. And for me, I think 2 losses is fine, but getting 3 losses and into the playoff, no thank you. And then this puts the group of 5 teams in play as well. And we do have good group of 5 programs. We do. And there's a couple of them this year as well. So I just wanted to start with that. Nebraska interim head coach Mickey Joseph was arrested yesterday on suspicion of strangulation and 3rd-degree domestic assault. Yikes. Obviously, he's not coming back. Matt Rule took that job, but that's not great for that program. So a fun trash-talking story emerged yesterday. Patrick Peterson took shots about his former teammate, Kyler Murray. Peterson says that Kyler don't care about nobody but Kyler Murray, saying he's selfish. And then Kyler Murray clapped back, of course, at Patrick Peterson. And then Kyler says, this isn't true. You want some weird shit, Patrick. You got my number. If you really feel like this as a quote-unquote big bro or a quote-unquote mentor, you're supposed to call me, tell me, not drag me so your podcast can grow. Yikes. But, I kind of think Patrick Peterson's right. I do. I mean, Kyler, he does come off a little selfish. He has a bad contract. He hasn't won a playoff game. He's a little bit of a show-off. I mean, he's a good quarterback when he's healthy and playing well. Yeah, he really, you could argue, hasn't lived up to expectations of being the number 1 overall pick. I mean, I thought he was going to be like Cam Newton, and I think Cam Newton's had a better career than Kyler Murray. And, of course, Kyler's going to fire back and say something kind of rude. And we're going to see where this goes. And obviously the Vikings beat Kyler in the Cards this season. A.J. Brown says that Titan fans hate me as he fires the flame ahead of the big matchup on Sunday against his former team. Majority of the Titans fans are out to get me. But the game's in Philly. It's not in Tennessee. But you know what A.J. Brown's going to go off. Penn State cornerback Joey Porter declares for the draft and will skip the bowl game to prepare for pre-draft process. That's not surprising. Porter's a good corner, and he'll be a first-round pick. I think Aaron Donald out against the Seahawks on Sunday. That's brutal for the Rams. I mean, their season's been brutal. Kyle Pitts out for the year after knee surgery, and they do not have any concerns about availability for 2023. So that's not great for Atlanta. And Najee Harris avoids major injury, but his status against the Falcons is still up in the air despite the good news. Aaron Rodgers opens up about a tough thing for him, you would think. He said he would have an open mind if the Packers want to start Jordan Love to finish the season. That's weird. All right, move on to baseball now. Coming down right now, Gaylord Perry dies at the age of 84. Thoughts and prayers go out to his family, his former teammates. That's sad news to come down this morning. The Cleveland Guardians are pursuing Oakland A's catcher Sean Murphy. So, this makes sense that Murphy's on the market because obviously they have a good some good catchers in their farm system. So that doesn't surprise me that he's available. The Yankees could offer Aaron Judge $300 million, as they could go higher depending on competing bids. And then there's rumors out there that Judge is supposed to make his decision within the next week. I think it's going to go down at the winter meetings personally, and I still think he goes back to New York. Jeff Passan thinks he's going back to New York, which is a good sign. Jeff Passan, I think, is the single best baseball reporter in the business, and he's usually right. He's Woj, he's Shams, and there's nobody better than him. So, that's that. Scary hockey news I want to get to in a second, but one more baseball thing. Yasiel Puig withdraws guilty plea as he will no longer plead guilty to a charge of lying about involvement in illegal gambling operation. As he tweeted about that. And scary hockey news yesterday that Penguins defenseman Chris Letang had a stroke as he's out indefinitely and will continue to undergo a series of tests over the next week. That's brutal. Thoughts and prayers to Chris Letang. Hopefully he'll be okay. We didn't even talk about this in the power rankings when I talked about the Penguins. But hopefully he'll be good to go down the road. All right, some stuff about the 2023-24 NBA schedule. The season will start October 24th, so a week later. And teams will have 80 games scheduled if in-season tournament is approved. So I want there to be an in-season tournament. I want there to be anything that eliminates tanking and will get teams to try harder. Celtics extend Al Horford 2 years, $20 million. Cheap extension for Al Horford and the Celts. And that has him tied to the team for 2 more years. Chris Middleton nearing season debut as he could take the floor as soon as Friday against the Lakers. And that's on ESPN, so ESPN's rooting for that. And James Harden targeting return against the Rockets after suffering injury on November 3rd. LeBron James speaking on Jerry Jones as he questions the media for not asking him about Jerry Jones' 1957 desecration photo. Which is very odd of LeBron. Very odd that that LeBron's questioning him about that. Because why? Because LeBron's a Cowboys fan? That's why he would expect them to ask about him? Yeah, so LeBron says, I was wondering why I haven't gotten a question about the Jerry Jones photo, but when the Kyrie thing was going on, you guys were quick to ask questions about that. That is really, really crazy. Huh. Very, very bizarre. I think that this is going to continue to be a story. And I'm interested to see where this goes. All right, last but not least, best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. This is a long podcast for a Thursday, but the hockey power rankings had to be done. So there's a couple nominees for best bet. There's a couple underdogs I liked in college basketball. I do like the Patriots, but I'm not willing to make that best bet. I don't like the Pistons that much against the Mavs. So I'm gonna lay a half unit with. There's a game I did like a lot in college basketball. I'm going to go with Arizona State getting the 4.5 against Colorado. I'm surprised that Colorado's favored. Arizona State, I think, is a better team. I think that situation with that player is going to boil over. They should win this game. I wouldn't be shocked if Arizona State won by double digits. So give me Arizona State plus 4.5 against Colorado as my best bet of the day. All right, so that's it for the show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything from today and looking ahead to everything tomorrow and then the weekend ahead. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.